The moon hung high in the sky, its silver glow casting shadows through the thick forest that surrounded her, the great kingdom of lichens. Inside the grand hall of the Alpha's fortress, Vine stood with her head held high, though her heart pounded against her ribs. The scent of dominance and rage filled the air, but she refused to shrink under it. Her so-called mate, Alpha Eden, stood before her, his blue eyes burning with fury. Eden, you dare disobey me? He spat, his grip tightening around her wrist. The bruises from his past rough touches had barely faded, and she knew this one would leave another mark. Ryan, I never disobeyed you. I only asked for respect. Eden scoffed. Eden, respect? Luna earns respect by submission. You're my maid? That means you obey. She clenched her fist, anger swirling inside her. She had tried for months to be the Luna Eden wanted. No matter what she did, it was never enough. He spoke to her like she was nothing but some slave he bought. A bitter taste filled her up as she turned on her heels and walked away, her head held high despite the ache in her bones. She barely made it to her room before the weight of it all crashes down on her. The bruises on her wrists, the echoes of his cruel words, the way he humiliated her in front of his warriors, all of it. She had spent months trapped in a bond that was supposed to be beautiful, a mate who was supposed to love her, yet all Eden had given her was pain. Ryan made her decision. She was leaving. She slipped into the night, moving through the thick forest, her heart pounding as she ran. The cold air burned her lungs, but she didn't stop. She couldn't. She didn't know where she was going, only that she needed to get as far as away from Ethan as possible. But then she felt it, a presence, powerful, overwhelming, unstoppable. She scattered to a hole, her breath caught in her throat as a tall figure emerged from the shadows. He was dressed in black, the fabric clinging to his powerful frame like darkness itself. The moonlight barely touched him, as if even the stars feared to illuminate the beast in the mist. His eyes gleamed, sharp, piercing, possessive. Vine's breath caught in her throat. Alpha Jungkook, the strongest alpha in existence. A name that sent shivers through the underworld. The kind of power that kings bowed to. A force no one could match, and yet, as he took a slow step forward, his gaze locked onto her, her knees nearly gave out. Take it. Running away? Little one. Shiver ran down her spine. Her wolf stirred inside her, not in fear, but in something far worse submission. Vine, who are you? Take it. You already know the answer to that. Every nerve in her body screamed at her to run, to fight, to resist, but she stood frozen, held captive by something far stronger than fear. JK, I'm here to offer you something. His hand lifted. His fingers brushed over her wrist, a touch so light, so gentle it made her breath stutter. Eden had never touched her like this. JK, a new maid. I can break your bond with Eden, and I can mark you as mine instead. The words should have terrified her, should have sent her running, but they didn't. JK, you'll be my queen, my maid, the one I will kneel before. For the first time in months, she felt wanted, claimed, not as an object to make babies, but a person who deserved to be loved. Jungkook placed his hand on her cheek. For how long had he planned making her his, obsessing over her? He was going to take her even if she didn't run, but after he was done with some kingdom affairs he needed to handle. It was the fate who was extra nice with him lately. Wine nodded and Jungkook kissed her, cupping her cheeks. That was dominant, passionate, deep, rough, yet full of emotions. It was a kiss that alone had the ability to take her to heaven, something she never wanted to pull back from. The hall was silent when they returned. The moment Eden saw her, his face twisted with rage. Eden, where the hell have you been? Wine didn't answer. She didn't need to, because Jungkook stepped forward, his dominance rolling through the room like a tidal wave. None of the Eden's army made a move, even Eden himself stiffened, his lips curling back into a snore. Eden, do you think you can just walk into my kingdom and take what's mine? Take it. Yours? Eden lunged, but he never made it. Jungkook's hand shot out, grabbing him by the throat, slapping him against the stone wall. The impact shook the entire hall. Ethan choked, struggling. No one from his army dared to take a step against the John. JK, you don't deserve to call yourself an alpha. You should have cared for her. You should have licked the floor she walked on. Ethan's eyes burned with hate as he struggled to set free. Ethan, she's still mine. Jungkook smirked. Then he pulled back, got back to wine, and sank his teeth into her neck. The bond with Ethan shattered in an instant. Wine cast at warmth spread through her veins, her entire body trembling as Jungkook's mark took its place. A very strong feeling rushed through her veins, taking over her senses. She was now his. Ethan let out a roar of pure fury, his entire body trembling with rage. Ethan, I'll kill you for this, John. He lunged. The fight was over before it even began. Jungkook dodged his attacks like they were nothing. He then crashed into the floor, coughing up blood, his body barely able to move. His warriors didn't even dare to interfere. Jungkook stood over him, his dark eyes glowing with infinality. "Zeke, you lost. Accept it." He didn't growl, but he knew. He knew he was nothing compared to the man before him. Jungkook turned away, stepping towards Wine, his fingers brushing over her fresh mark on her neck. His mark. "Zeke, are you alright?" he murmured. She exhaled shakily. Then she smiled. For the first time in her life, she felt free. Jungkook returned her smile, his gaze softening as he leaned in, his lips brushing her temple. "Zeke, you're mine now, little one, and I protect what's mine."